Hello everybody, this is Josh at Tuxedo Talk, and today I was wanting to talk about setbacks and plans for the future, because there's not going to be any squatting or deadlifting videos for the rest of the year, because I've been dealing with a nagging nerve injury, or something, for quite some time. I've just been trying to rehab it and ignore it or work through it, but pain is getting to be just too much. And it turns out that I have an extra vertebra in my back that causes quite a bit of instability. And that's why I think I'm having my sciatic nerve being pinched on, impinged on. Something's going on. And I've been working on it and trying to get it better now for months on end, and it's just not working out. So I've decided that for the rest of 2023, I'm not going to be doing any squatting or deadlifting. I'm just going to be instead focusing more on calisthenics and doing everything I can to rehab this, and then I can come back even stronger in 2024. And, it does hurt, both physically and emotionally, because it is something I really enjoy. And it gets demoralizing. You're sitting here saying, hey, it's something I really, really liked, and it's being taken away from me, But that is life, and it doesn't make it really any better emotionally. A lot of people say that, got to get over it, yada yada yada, but no, it is genuinely hard. It is just genuinely a bad thing, and to say otherwise, you're really just lying to yourself. But kind of, you can try and have the silver rose tinted glasses look on it, which is important, is that, in the event that I do get all this back together and I come back even stronger, isn't that just a much better story? Of course, in reality, it is vastly preferable that just you try something, everything works out, there's no real actual bumps in the road, and you just win. We all know deep down in our hearts that that is what you actually would prefer. The whole hero's journey is struggling, overcoming, being better. That's just something we lie to ourselves to say is the better way. Because in reality is that that almost never actually does happen. But it is what we do want. We all want the ability to have six-pack abs and sit on the couch and never suffer or never have to go through any trials and just win. That is what we actually all would prefer. Except for maybe some psychopaths out there that do just want to punish themselves for whatever reason. But that's not the world we live in, and that's just what you got to live with. But it had me thinking, since I'm going to have to drop back and do something different when it comes to fitness, I'm making plans for the future of my life in general as well. And that's making me decide to put this video together just to verbalize my thoughts. I've come up with the idea of what I'm going to be doing professionally for the next while. So it helps me to record a video and put my thoughts out there, and sometimes you come up with ideas while you're verbalizing it. You can be inside your head all day long, but verbalizing it does help me a lot. So as some of you know, I do run a maintenance company in addition to being a firefighter. Window cleaning, pressure washing, and deep floor cleaning are my bread and butter for restaurants. I do those services for other businesses as well. I do almost no residential work. I try to avoid it because I don't like doing things for people's houses. I prefer to be doing what's known as B2B in the business world, business to business work. And that's actually a good idea for me to make a video of in the future, of where you can go customer focused businesses as opposed to business to business focused businesses. They're not the same thing. And if you're thinking about getting into a business, it's something you should definitely consider. So there you go, verbalizing, something else I just came up with. But in this business, I have access to a bunch of 5-gallon buckets, food grade 5-gallon buckets with a food grade lid. Because what happens is a lot of these restaurants, they get their pickles and things of that nature shipped to them in those things. and then they just throw the buckets away. Now, what I've been doing for a while is that I use some of those buckets. I drill a hole in them and I raise worms in them because I also happen to like to garden. I like to grow things. I'm not as dedicated to it as I should be, but it's something I enjoy. And I actually got that technique that I learned from a guy on YouTube called Larry up in Brandon, Minnesota. I forget exactly what his YouTube channel is, and it's not going to come to me, so I apologize to Larry. But what he does is yeah, you take a 4-inch hole saw that you can put on the end of a drill. You drill out a hole in the food grade lid, and then that makes it so that the worms can have air, but they also can't get out. And then from there you can feed them, and they'll slowly but surely turn regular soil into what's called vermicompost or worm casting, which is phenomenal for growing in. You can use it as a soil amendment. So what I also do with that is that while I'm doing that, I will just take a tomato plant, a pepper plant, eggplants, things of that nature, and just stick it in the freaking bucket, drill a small hole in the bottom of it so that the bucket won't fill up with water. And then I'll also take cattle wire, wrap the bucket in it so that now it's like a tomato cage, and you just grow in that. It's very, very efficient. It's a great little system. And so here in the future, what I'm planning on doing is I'm working out with some local plant nurseries. I am going to, about January of next year, start a whole bunch of plants underneath grow lights so that they'll be larger come the spring. And if you ever go to Lowe's or Home Depot, you'll see those large tomato plants that they're selling for like $20. And those things are terrible because what they do is with those is they just give them a whole bunch of chemical fertilizer to make them grow very, very fast, but they aren't sustainable. And also, too, the containers that they sell them in are too small, and the plant becomes what's called root bound. And what that is that when a plant is in a plastic container, it can't sense where the air is, so it's constantly putting out longer and longer feelers trying to find its way out, and it just goes basically into a big circle and it becomes root bound. So those large tomato plants that sell at Lowe's and Home Depot are really pretty crappy, and they're getting $20 for them. So my plan is that these white food grade buckets, I'm going to create those. I'm going to put a sticker on the front of them with my company's name. My maintenance company is Tuxedo Maintenance. And I'm thinking about calling this Tuxedo Topsoils. And there's a way that I'm going to marry the two together. So the idea is that I'm going to sell these bucketed plants that'll have the worms inside of them, all for about $20 to $25. And the difference is that you get the bucket, the worms, the whole system. It's really a great steal, but it's going to have the number on it. And my goal is I'm trying to find people that want to grow things. And I'm going to also offer custom-built gardens. That's just really the buckets are going to be nothing more than a set of business cards with a small profit margin that I can get on them. And the idea is I'm going to have a website built where you can design your own custom raised bed garden that me and my company can come out and build for you. And it'll be, I'm making these numbers up, a $20 per square foot for this type of garden that we can put in for you. So you come out, you pay us, boom, we build it for you. Happy day. But also, too, what I'm going to offer is a monthly subscription fee, where if you're a person who's very busy, but you would like to be able to have your own garden and grow your own food, it costs $20 a square foot to build it, but maybe I'll charge you $2 a square foot per month to maintain it for you. And we'll go in, we'll plant whatever you want, these will help you design it. It's all taken care of. All you have to do is go out and pick it, and in fact, you don't even have to do that. It can already be picked and sitting on your front doorstep for you when you come home. So it's a convenience thing. And now here's how I'm going to tie it together with the maintenance business. Now, not only is the maintenance business providing me the free buckets, but also, too, what restaurants and a lot of my other customers throw away a lot of is food scraps and cardboard, both of which can be shredded and grinded up and fed to worms to create fantastic growing soil in. which would be the vermicompost, the worm castings, which you can also then mix together with charcoal. See, now charcoal is like, have you ever heard of charcoal filters? The way that it works is that charcoal has an insane amount of surface area within the charcoal, because just how you and me have veins and nerves that run throughout our bodies, plants have the same thing with water transport throughout them. So when you make charcoal, what you're doing is you're burning out all of the plant's veins, but you're leaving the structures behind, which in turn means there's an inordinate amount of space for microbiomes to live in. So what you do is you take charcoal, you grind it up, and you inoculate it with pond water or any unclean water that has bacteria, things of that nature in it, to inoculate it with life. Because what plants in general need are two things. It's more complicated than this, but if you hit these two things, a plant will grow very, very well. It needs certain elements, so nitrous, phosphorus, potassium, magnesium, things of that nature. And then it also needs a microbiome around it to make it grow better, the correct bacteria, micro-living organisms. So the worm castings provide both of those things, and then the charcoal mixed in together, which we will make, is called biochar. You mix that together, and it's a very, very potent soil amendment. So my idea would be is that both businesses can complement each other very well, in that I can have the raw materials that are being thrown away from the restaurant and maintenance end of my business complementing the gardening maintenance end of my other side of my business, and I can marry the two together to where I can have crews that are doing both. So that's the basic idea of what I think I can build here. And so my plan is initially is that I want to learn how to do this, see if I can marry the two together. And then from there, I'm not sure if I would want to sell it or franchise it. But the main thing that I'm going to have to do in order to do this is hire people and actually be a leader for the first time in my life. And which is a very, very spot that I'm very actually weak in. I have the ability to communicate. I'm quite a salesman, but I have always been deficient in leadership, because despite the fact that I am very energetic and do a lot of things, in some regards I'm extremely lazy and undisciplined. In that if it's something I really don't want to do, I just don't do it. I detest things like paperwork. I am ashamed to the millennial generation in that I don't like computers. I have no interest in learning them, and not doing it is something that has held me back, but frankly, I've always been able to be successful enough in anything I do to where it's not that I won't eat if I just ignore the things I don't want to do, so I just ignore the things I don't want to do, which means I have a modicum of success in a lot of things that I do, but I never take it to its full potential because I'm undisciplined. However, if I'm going to do this, I absolutely must overcome those shortcomings. So, know thyself, and that's something that I'm going to have to do. The other thing is that I am not much of a leader, in that I just don't like having to deal with other people. I have always been the type of person that is, if I decide that I want to do things, then from there I just do it. Things being hard, getting up early, whatever it may be, it's just always been not an issue to me once I decide that I want to do something. That's not the case for most other people, and that you have to motivate others, you have to influence others. That's what leadership is. Leadership is the ability to influence other people, and in that regard, I am very, very poor in that I don't like to influence because I'd rather just not deal with it. I want, basically, professionally, people in my life to just be robots and automatons. I need this done, just do it. And that's not how people work. That's not a problem with them, that's a problem with me. And I'm going to have to change that in my mindset, and then I'm going to have to actually learn how to be a leader and influence people beyond just an initial sales meeting. Which, sales I'm very good at. Long-term leadership I have been bad at. So, long story short, I am 34 years old, and I'm going to have to basically grow up for the first time in my life and start doing things I actually don't want to do. So, yeah. So that is things going forward, is that I'm going to try and start now bulletproofing my body on the smaller muscles, doing rehab for the nerve pain that I have. And I'm going to actually, over the next few years, trying to be growing up and moving into more of a leadership position in my own life. So thank you very much for your time, and have a wonderful day.